بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وفقها في الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who on a Friday night brought us to the masjid. So if you're here now in the masjid, you need to take advantage of this space and this environment. So in order for you to be present, I do not expect you to see you on your phone. So before I begin the lecture, I want the brothers to come closer and to phones to disappear. Wallahi, do not waste your time by coming to the masjid and going on your phones or social media. I need every brother, those who are not present, to be present with their hearts. I know we're physically here, but for us to really, really benefit with anything we do in life, and I know our teachers probably say this a lot in school, okay? Are we actually there? Are we listening? You're like, yeah, I'm here. They know you're not listening. They know you're not present. So for my younger brothers, please, inshallah, make sure you're present, you're taking advantage of this time, because this time will never come again. It will never come again. Once it's gone, and that's life. Inshallah, we begin our talk in praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Allah. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us from our sins, to forgive us from our sins, to pardon our shortcomings. I pray that what remains of tonight is for us and not against us. Allahumma ameen. The topic of tonight's reminder is how to truly benefit from Ramadan. Okay? How to truly benefit from Ramadan. Ramadan is fast approaching. The ulama, they will say, when Ramadan, we were in it, they will say, Mahlan ya Ramadan. They say, Ramadan, let's slow it down. I want to benefit more from Ramadan. That's if your heart is in the right place. Okay? Otherwise, if you have different desires, you probably say, I need Eid to come quickly. But the true believer, the Sahaba, they would wish that there was more nights of Ramadan. So at the departure of Ramadan, you'll find that they will be crying. And I find myself in this situation once where I was in the masjid and I was happy, I was doing it together. I was happy that their Eid was coming. I was like, yeah, I can finally leave the masjid, gonna wear new clothes, going to visit family, eat food, go out. And the whole masjid, these men, after the adhan was being called, they were crying. Why would someone cry at the departure of Ramadan? Because for the believer, he believes that the ajal, that the time of death is only known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they don't know whether they will be alive to see another Ramadan. Therefore, they will cry because they don't know if they're going to live and experience that great month. So you as a believer, your heart must be present. Not only are you yearning for it, and you say, Ahlan bika ya Ramadan, like I welcome Ramadan, and you welcome it as you welcome a guest to your home, but you also have that heart where you want change. Ramadan is known as the month of change. You have to change. You cannot be the same guy, the same person entering Ramadan and leaving Ramadan. Otherwise you fail. That Ramadan, wasted. So you go into Ramadan, every single one of us. How do we truly benefit from Ramadan? Let us go back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, "O you have believed, fasting has been made wajib for you. Like it was made wajib upon those that were before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may become righteous." So it's very important, you as a believer, do you remember when you started school, when you started uni, just before you start any module, your teacher hands you a module book. And that module tells you everything you're going to cover, and it tells you why. And I know some of you are probably in class and your teacher, they write LO. What does LO mean? Anyone know? LO, learning objective. So like even your class teacher, they're serious, they're not here to waste time. Can you imagine a teacher walks in and it's a joke, you don't know A, B, nothing. You don't know where it's going, this lesson. So the teacher writes learning objective. Everything in life, the masjid serves a purpose. The chairs, the car, transport, the policies in place, your grade, expectations from your parents. Everything has a reason and why. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling you, Ramadan, the purpose behind it is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you become a better person. So you may become righteous. And this topic, we covered it a few weeks ago with the sisters, but I remind the brothers, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may become righteous is a big concept in Islam. At-taqwa. And at-taqwa, the Prophet ﷺ, before giving the translation, he would say, At-taqwa ha-huna, at-taqwa ha-huna. My taqwa, my piety, me being conscious of Allah, God-fearing, in love of Allah, aware of my actions, aware of the presence of Allah, aware of the ever-watchful eye of Allah, is always on me. That is taqwa. Where does that taqwa reside? In your heart. Not in the length of your beard. This is easy, subhanAllah. You know, to consider you practicing Islam to mean my length of my beard and the fact that my clothes is above my ankle, that's the easy part. To show the outward appearance of Islam, that's the easy part. But what's the hardest part? What's in your heart? And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He tells us this. He says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. He doesn't say fasting is so you can just give in charity. So you can think of the poor and these secondary benefits. So you can lose weight, which, you know, it's going to happen anyway. If you fast the correct fasting. Another type of fasting that many of us do, and unfortunately data released is that the Muslim community put on more weight in Ramadan than out of Ramadan. What a disappointment, isn't it? That we put on more weight in Ramadan than out of Ramadan. So you enter Ramadan, you're 50 kg, you leave 60 kg. You enter with 60, you're 70. You enter with 80, you're 90. So here, these are secondary benefits. But Allah, He reminds you of how, because you're reading the Quran, the purpose of fasting is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. So they may become righteous. So you become righteous. So what does it mean to have taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jalla? It means that I will not put a step forward till I know it is pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jalla. I'm not going to speak unless I know it's pleasing to Allah. I'm not going to give unless I know it's pleasing to Allah. I'm not going to do a single action except that I know this action was legislated by Allah and His Rasul. That the Prophet ﷺ did this action. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. To have taqwa means that you love Allah in your heart, and that love is shown in your body, not on your tongue. Lip service. People of lip service are many, brothers. So we want to enter Ramadan and we make a sincere intention to change my environment. If I'm listening to music, to stop the music. If I'm in a haram relationship, to stop that haram relationship. If I'm involved in drugs or any type of violence or dhulm, to get myself out of it. If I'm involved in looking at haram, to remove it. The companions or the Salaf, they will say, if you fast, if you're going to fast, فَلْيَصُمْ سَمْعُكَ وَبَصَرُكَ وَلِسَانُكَ. If you're going to fast, then make sure your hearing fasts. You know, what does it mean that my ears fast? Because you know, as Muslims, we have a wrong understanding of fasting. So you tell a young man, a young girl, Ramadan is coming, you have to fast. The initial thought that comes to your mind is, I need to give up food. I need to give up eating and drinking. No. A soul Fasting is al-imsak. In Arabic, the translation of fasting, the linguistic word, is imsak. Imsak means what? To hold something back. What are you holding back? Your desire, your shahwah. Brothers and sisters, what will ruin us is two things: our intellect or our desire. And Ramadan serves to humble both of these things. Ramadan will humble both your intellect. If you think you're an intellectual person or someone who has come to some type of understanding and misguided in his methodology, Ramadan is there as a training ground to humble you. And number two, if you're fighting against your desire, Ramadan is there to help you with your shahwah, to control your shahwah. Why? The true believer, in the first sense, will know that Ramadan has been legislated not by my father, not by my mother, not by the masjid, not by my qabeel. Ramadan hasn't been legislated. I'm not going to be fasting because it's an habitual, cultural action that other Muslims do. Therefore, I will do. No, you're a grown man. This is your life. Why are you fasting? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban." So you must have, in order to fast, you must have these two conditions. You have iman, that Allah is the one who legislated fasting. No one else other than my Lord. Rabbi alladhi khalaqani wa khalaqa jami' al-makhluqat. My Lord who created me and created everything that I see. He wants for me to fast in the blessed month of Ramadan, alladhi, the month which the Quran was revealed. Therefore I will fast. You submit. You surrender yourself to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Knowing that Allah Azza wa Jalla is al-latif bil-ibad. Allah is gentle with you, kind and merciful to you. 11 months you spent a life of sin. 11 months you never touched the Quran. 11 months you were maybe neglectful of your prayer. Maybe you woke up to university and work and you missed Fajr. And you say you love Allah. Allah Azza wa Jalla is merciful. Allah is waiting to bring means at your feet so it becomes easier for you to worship. So the ulama, they say, Alhamdulillah alladhi hayya'a li'ibadihi al-asbab. The true scholars, they say, the one who fears Allah, they say, "Oh Allah, thank you. Oh Allah, all praise belongs to you for facilitating for me an easy way in worshipping you." In Ramadan, when it enters, brothers, be honest, and sisters, don't you feel a sense of zeal, a passion? You weren't even praying Fajr. Now you hear it, Taraweeh. See, it's because the shayateen are chained away. The gates of paradise are open and the gates of hellfire are closed. So you have this raghbah, this strong zeal. Who made that easy for you? Allah. And because of that, Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to see from you change, an opportunity for you to return back to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So us as believers, brothers and sisters, wallahi, we are in need of Ramadan to come year after year after year for us. And I pray Allah Azza wa Jalla, He makes us of those that enter Ramadan and change our lives completely. There was a story that happened with the companions, Talha ibn Ubaydullah. He says there were two men that came to the masjid, they accepted Islam. At the same time, they both accepted Islam. Some of you heard this narration. Two men, they both came to the masjid, they accepted Islam, both of them. One of them, he was serious in making jihad fi sabilillah, always trying his best to call for the name of Allah Azza wa Jalla and defending the believers. And he became a martyr, he became a shaheed. As for his friend, his brother, he lived another year and he passed away thereafter. Talha, he narrates, I had a dream. I slept, I had a dream that I was at the gate of paradise. And someone came out from the gates of paradise and he welcomed the person that had died a year later into paradise first. And then he came back out and then he told the martyr to now enter Jannah. And then he came back out and then he spoke to me, i.e. Talha, and he says, go back for your time hasn't come. Meaning you're not going to die yet. He woke up, Talha, he told this narration to everyone. This news got to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, said, why are you all amazed? Because everyone's wondering. A shaheed is a high rank in Islam. If you give your life, it's not easy. Someone give their life, and this is what Islam means. Islam means what? I live and die, breathe and talk, give and withhold only for Allah. I don't live for society. I don't live for your wants, your desire. Some of us, we have things misunderstood. Some of us are living our lives because my friend, he wants me to speak and look a certain way. I have to dress a certain way. I have to, the pressure of society has been placed upon me. No. You can free yourself from all these shackles. Wallahi, Islam has freed us from all of these shackles. And you know, when people were enslaved in the past, and when people were taken from Africa and spread around the world to be slaves, they had physical chains, right, brothers? They had physical chains. They could see their shackles. Now, brothers and sisters, us as believers, we think we're free. We're walking around London. We think we're free. But wallahi, we have shackles. But that shackle is not physical, you cannot see it. But our brains, our minds, our desires, our wants are chained. Chained to what? Shahawat. Chained to desires. Young Muslim man, you want to fast? Then you have to have a true fasting. Not the type of fasting where you're still listening to Grime Daily. You're still listening to J Hus. You're still listening to music and watching films. This is not the type of fasting that Allah Azza wa Jalla requires. Allah Azza wa Jalla requires a sincere fasting, where you abandon everything for Allah Azza wa Jalla. Everything for Allah. No eating, no drinking. And as the Salaf would say, if you're going to fast, then make sure your hearing is fasting. Your eyes are fasting, and your tongue is fasting. Your hearing, from hearing slander and backbiting. You're not going to tolerate it. Inni sa'im. I'm one who is fasting for the sake of Allah. I cannot tolerate anyone talking ill. I won't be able to sit here and feel comfortable as many people do. It's a form of entertainment. You know what he's doing? You know what she's doing? You see what he's done? And people use the deen, for those brothers who understand what I'm saying. And others, it's a form of cultural practices to talk ill of others. This is not from Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, even if someone did wrong, and we know people that serve the Prophet, that live with the Prophet, they will say, I lived 10 years with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he never told me, why didn't you do this instead of doing that? He never had like a negative demeanor about him. He never put anyone down. So if you're going to fast, be careful of what you hear. And if you're going to fast, be careful of what you look at. How are you fasting from eating and drinking, but yet looking at haram? It's not possible. So for the believer, he avoids even looking at haram of the dunya. Whether it's the opposite gender, or whether it is from the glamours of the dunya. You avoid it. Why? You are fasting. This heart needs to have imsak. Ramadan is a madrasa. Some of you are thinking, yeah, I've left madrasa, I've left duksi. We have duksi every year. It's called Ramadan. That duksi, that madrasa Ramadan is there to train you, to give you adab, to humble you. That you reflect, how am I able to give up something which is halal? Eating and drinking. I'm giving it up for Allah, then it is easy for me to give up haram. It is definitely easy for me to give up the things which are displeasing to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So here he mentions, Ahbabi fillah, my brothers who I love for the sake of Allah. This is what the Shaykh's mentioning. Al-kullu yasta'id li Ramadan. Everyone is in preparation for Ramadan. Ramadan is fast approaching. Everyone is prepared, by the way. Everyone is getting ready. Some people are neglectful. It's going to hit them. Allah, tonight's Taraweeh. No, I'm tired. Just came back from uni, Came back from work. I'll go tomorrow. So Ramadan might hit some of us. And it might be a shock to our system. We'll have to fast tomorrow, Monday. Could be next week. Either a Sunday night we could be praying Taraweeh. Monday could be first night of fast, first day of fasting. Or Monday night we pray Taraweeh. Tuesday could be the first day of fasting. Now, in preparation for that, the Muslims in the past, they would say Rajab is the time you plant the seed. Rajab is gone. It's one of the months of the Islamic calendar. We are in Sha'ban now. So Rajab was the time you plant a seed. Sha'ban was the month where you start to water that plant. And Ramadan is the month, we are in Sha'ban, Ramadan is the month where you see the fruits bearing. So Ramadan, you fast, you go to Qiyamul Layl, Taraweeh, you read the Quran more, you're going to do all these things, but wallahi it's not easy for everyone. Some people, they're going to struggle. 11 months of never praying, you need to focus on the 5 daily prayers. Don't kid yourself. Wallahi, if you're not praying Fajr, and you're not praying any of the salawat, pray your 5 daily prayers. Say that to yourself, say that to your friends. Look, before we meet up tonight at a Risala, going to Taraweeh, make sure we're all up for Fajr. Make sure, you can't wake up for Fajr, I will wake you up for Fajr. In fact, us all meet up for Fajr, have suhoor, and stop eating in the masjid at that time. And your parents will love this. Like, my son's going to the masjid to pray Fajr. So here, if you're going to fast, then make sure all of these areas are fasting. And if you're going to prepare, know that there are other people preparing. And look what the Sheikh mentioned. He says it, the businessmen and women are preparing for Ramadan. What does he mean by that? I know one auntie, she's preparing, wallahi, she's buying all her dates. Wallahi, one auntie, she bought a whole bulk of dates. Why? She knows it's going to get sold in Ramadan. So people who are on a business mindset, they need that money. It's halal rizq, but they're prepared. So the people of business are preparing for Ramadan. Then he continues and he says, وَالْقَنَوَاتِ تَسْتَعِدُ. And the TV channels are also preparing itself to keep you busy. And I'll be honest with you, this isn't really in London and so on, but in the Muslim world, there's so many TV things that come on. For us, I think most of us will probably be doing exams or work and so on, but there is also a distraction there, that in Ramadan, you shouldn't be watching TV, busying yourself with TV. Ramadan should be a month where you get rid of the dunya. You only have your eyes set on the akhirah, because you may never live to see another Ramadan. As many of you know, there were many brothers who've been buried recently due to knife crime. Many people who've been stabbed or killed. You don't want to live a life where you miss out the opportunity of Ramadan due to not taking advantage of Ramadan. This is the month, it's coming. We never know if we're going to reach it. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, He makes us of those that reach it. Allahumma ameen. Wal-maqahi. This is for the elders, okay, which also creeps in with us youngsters. Also the places of drinking tea and coffee. It's preparing itself. It's preparing you to come there and invite you and spend your whole night. You pray Tarawih, come now. Just sit here, talk the rest of the night till Fajr. These are all tricks of shaitan. Everyone, the devil has his own deception. For the one who is into his Islam and he's already established his 5 daily prayers, he will waste his time in different areas. For the one who is not praying, he will tell you, just go to Tarawih, forget your daily prayers, fast. So then you need to ask yourself, what type of fasting was that? Was I really sincere? Also, the Shaykh mentions, which is in line with the Quranic verse, similar, he says, وَلَوْ أَرَادُوا رَمَضَانَ لَأَعَدُّوا لَهُ عُدَّةً. If they were really sincere and they wanted Ramadan, and the benefit of the word Ramadan, by the way, is that the word Ramadan comes from an Arabic word which means extremely hot, or something that burns. Therefore, the Islamic concept of that Ramadan is meant to be the month where it burns away your sin, where it's meant to extinguish or remove your sin. So brothers and sisters, every time we experience Ramadan, we know that it is a spiritual growth that's happening. Don't think about dates, don't think about sambus and samosas and these festivity things. And this is what ruined many other religions before us. You know, it becomes tokenistic, it becomes something which is done at periods of time. Islam is something that you live your life. You're a living and breathing example of Islam. Aisha radiallahu anha, what would she say about the Prophet? She would say his akhlaq, his adab is the Quran. How many of us our family members can say, Ahmed or Safiya or Aisha, she is Islam, she is a Muslim. These are areas that we need to really embody. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came to fast a true fasting that was for Allah and Allah alone. Also, can you imagine, brothers and sisters, that Ramadan enters? It is like the day someone is sitting their exam. In order for you to prepare and truly benefit from Ramadan, please, every single one of us should try to fast at least a few days of Ramadan, in Sha'ban. Now, before Ramadan enters, fast a few days in preparation, for you need to prepare yourself. It's like when you're going to a football game, when you're going to play a match, you're going to prepare in advance, you're going to have your training, you're even going to do your stretches, and then when you enter the game, you know what to do. You know what position to stay at. The same is for Ramadan. If you enter Ramadan, you're drowning, and people are fasting long hours, and it's going to be hot, and then people are going to Tarawih, and then there is the ideal virtue of reading the Quran. We're all going to be lost. Ramadan is also the month when the Quran was revealed. So many of the scholars in the past, they would say, make sure you are reading the Quran. Make sure you are reading the Quran this month. Leave Twitter, leave Instagram, leave YouTube. Why waste your life watching someone else live their life? Why are we wasting our lives, brothers and sisters, in watching other people fulfill their lives? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived his life. If you want to know the most happiest of people, as'adun nas, the most happiest of people, it was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What made him happy? He loved Allah. As for the dunya, he said, Mali wa dunya. He said, what is me and this dunya? I'm not obsessed with this dunya. He wouldn't care about the glamour of this dunya, the clothing of this dunya. Ramadan is also the month of giving, the month of sincerity. And the point I would like to touch on a bit more, inshallah, of sincerity is that all deeds are for ourselves, meaning it will bring us benefit. As for Ramadan, it is something which Allah Azza wa Jalla said, As-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bih. Fasting is for me, and I shall reward the fasting person. Meaning that fasting is a deed which is done in secret. Today, when Ramadan enters tomorrow, in a few days' time, you don't know the difference between Ahmed and Muhammad who is fasting. Unless they're both licking their lips and that hard, difficult fast today. Unless they verbalize it, they make it clear to you. You don't know. Therefore, the ulama say, the more a deed is done in private, the closer it is to sincerity. The more you do a deed privately, the closer it is to sincerity. That's why many of the Salaf, many of the Sahaba, if they did a deed publicly, they wouldn't feel relaxed. They'll feel like, that's just a public deed. When I go home, that's when I really need to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he will make his qiyamul layl outside of Ramadan and in Ramadan, but in Ramadan even more. Ajwad ma yakun. He would be the most giving of people in Ramadan. He would spend his nights in prayer, he'll spend his day reading the Quran, he'll spend his day in working. Many of you might have exams. Wallahi, do not use exams as an excuse. Why should I fast? It's very difficult. It's difficult to fast. I've got exams, I've got a headache, it's mashaqqa. No, exams, prepare for it. Be a real man. The Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they used to be in jihad. Can you imagine? They'll be expelled from the land. But they tasted sweetness that many of us miss out on. Just before we started Maghrib, I was having a beautiful conversation with a brother and uncle, and we were talking about why is it that when we want to relax, say for example from work and uni and study, we go on to entertainment, movies, social media, going out, and not necessarily the Quran and praying. Why? It's because of the following. Our hearts, our desires, feels like that there is pleasure. Remember, if you ask yourself after watching an entire movie, whether it was Black Panther, I know that's gone, or the recent Avengers that's come out, whatever movie it may be, once you've finished watching what you're watching, hours of it, and I ask you, how do you feel? How was that? Like 3 hours, how was that? How do you feel? You're like, it's okay. Was it worth it, really? Because no, it wasn't really worth it. It was dead. The movie wasn't really beneficial. So that teaches us, when we think that we're in pleasure, we're not really in pleasure. And at the end of that pleasure, we are regretful. And if you want to think about it in a haram relationship, or looking at something haram, then think about it in that context. After doing it, and then it's finished, you're like, it wasn't worth it. Why? The devil comes to beautify things. One of the deception of the devil's brothers is that he will beautify for you every sinful act. And he will not call it a sin. He will just call it pleasure. Do what you want. It's entertainment. And Ramadan teaches us to leave everything off. And the reason why our hearts don't find pleasure in ibadah is because our hearts have started being inclined towards these worldly objects. Phones, movies, going out and eating, talking and sitting with friends. The Prophet ﷺ, his pleasure will be in prayer. How do we get to that level? How do I get to a level when I want to be like the Imam in Ramadan? He's reciting Quran and he's crying. How can I get to that level? Why is he crying? What is it that he has and he is tasting and feeling that I cannot taste and feel? Is my heart dead? And this is why the ulama, they say our hearts are in need of Ramadan because it is dead. It is harder than stones. It doesn't remember Allah. And we all have to be true. No one can sit here today, wallahi. Not everyone can sit here today. If the Prophet ﷺ yearned for Ramadan and he was wishing and hoping to see another Ramadan, then who are you? You also have to have that strong desire. I want to meet Ramadan and welcome it and do the best I can in that blessed month of Ramadan. Also, the Prophet Shaykh Uthaymeen actually mentions it. One of the greatest benefits of Ramadan, or the way to prepare for it, is to know that it is there to give you a tarbiyah of your soul, your real being. Every single one of us, wallahi, you have no control over being a Bengali from Bangladesh, or being from Somalia or Morocco or Algeria. You have no control over that. But you have control over one thing: the person you are inside. That's the only thing you have control over. The shape of your nose, the length of your hair, how tall you are, how short you are. You have no control over this. It's qadr Allah that you are born into this family. This body is a vehicle. The only thing that Allah Azza wa Jalla is testing us with is, what are you going to do with your character, your soul, and what will you do with this body? This, most of the brothers I can see in front of me are young men, strong. You're at your prime. This is prime time. This is the time of strength. The time you need to show Allah, oh Allah, I love you more than my desire. Oh Allah, I love you more than my wants. Oh Allah, you have legislated for me to fast in the month of Ramadan. Therefore, I'm going to fast and surrender to your will, because your love of wanting me to do something is greater than what I want to eat and drink. So you surrender to that. And number two, Allah is telling you that I want you to become a better person. I want you to become righteous. I want you to know that there is no pleasure alone in eating and drinking and intimacy if you're married with your spouse during those times. But that there is pleasure in reciting the Quran, in standing in Qiyam al-Layl. Imagine you are standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Qiyam al-Layl, or praying at night, you are standing before Allah. Why? The ulama, they'll say, whoever stands before Allah in Qiyam al-Layl and he spends his nights in prayer, Allah will make his standing on the day of judgment easy. Wallah, are you the same as someone who spent his whole night sleeping? Every night he's just sleeping after watching, and this is the conversation was happening. We were having, like, we finish everything, we're laying in bed, and we're like this, until we fall asleep on our phones. And one of the uncles, he said, because he studied psychology or engineering and stuff, he said that the brain, it records and it continues to be active after you have slept. And wherever you watch, especially the things that come from this, it remains in your brain. And your brain remains active. So when you wake up in the morning, the reason why you felt like you didn't sleep much is because you slept looking at this. So even if you're going to look at your phone, give it a gap. Give it like a 2-hour gap, then you can have a nice, beautiful sleep. But look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You say, Ya Bilal, arihna biha ya Bilal, Bilal, call the adhan. Call the adhan so I can have raha, so I can have enjoyment and pleasure. This is the mindset, every single one of us. We want to set that target. I want to enter Ramadan. In the beginning, I might feel a bit agitated. I'm standing in Qiyam al-Layl, subhanAllah, this is a very long prayer. And one of the companions, he prayed with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he prayed with the Prophet side by side. He walked in and he saw that the Prophet was praying at home, alone, in his room. So he stood by his side. And he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he started to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. And then he said to himself, I thought that he would finish at the 100th verse. He'll stop where? In 100 verses. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued. Imagine Baqarah, right? He read, how long is Baqarah, brothers? In an audio, if you put it on YouTube, minimum 2 hours. 2 hours and a half, minimum. Okay, if you even slow it down, you have Shaykh Husari reciting or Minshawi, even probably slower. But 2 hours, the Prophet is standing in prayer. Like, tell me who's a real man. One who stands before Allah like this and is enjoying the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla in ibadah, or the one that's in his ma'siyah, the one that's committing a sin. So the heart needs Ramadan for Ahlul Ma'siyah. So the heart is in need of Ramadan for the people of sin, the people who have turned away from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Then he says, he then moved on to Ali Imran, Surah An-Nisa. Finished, he kept reading all of this in one rak'ah. And his rak'ah, he went into ruku', and his ruku' was the same length as he's standing. And his sujood was as long as he's standing and his qiyam. This is what we want to aim towards. Wallahi, nothing else of the dunya should me and you ever want. I want to find pleasure in ibadah. This is why the likes of Shaykh Ustad ibn Taymiyyah, great scholar in Islam, he'll say, and his enemies, they said this to him. His enemies said to him, "We'll go, if you keep calling to what you're calling to, with Tawheed and the oneness of Allah and Da'wah and so on, we're going to kill you. If you keep doing this, we're going to kill you, or we're going to expel you from the land, or we're going to imprison you." You know what his answer is? He said, "What can my enemies do to you? Inna jannati wa bustani fi sadri." You know, my paradise, what I feel, my contentment, my peace of heart is in my chest. You know, if they kill me, it's martyrdom. If they expel me from the land, it's siyaha. I can travel the world of Allah Azza wa Jal, the earth of Allah. You know, your mindset. You see, you have to change everything. Everything that someone told you is a negative, you can twist it. With the right mindset, everything can be positive. Everything that you go through, the pain that you're going through, maybe no one knows, wallahi. No one knows. Even in your own household, the people may not know you're going through problems. But Allah knows your problems and you remain patient. Even in that is a blessing from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And then the last one, if they imprison me, listen to this one carefully. This is a wrong imprisonment, by the way. Like, nobody will be thinking, okay, I don't care if they imprison me in selling drugs or stabbing or hurting someone. I don't care if they imprison me. What could they do to me and so on? No. This is wrong. You deserve to be imprisoned. As for the one who is being imprisoned for the sake of Allah, because he's just being a Muslim, then he says, being imprisoned for me is khalwa. It is a time between me and my Lord. You know, this is what we need to establish. Ramadan is a time where the hearts need to be connected to the house of Allah and to be connected to the worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So before you enter Ramadan now, brothers, be honest with yourself. Any distractions, sisters, you have, try your best to remove those distractions. Tell everyone around you, if you're involved in haram, you're going to stop with the intention of stopping. Not pausing. Okay? Don't play with the deen of Allah. The scholars, they'll say, the believer, it is best that he die between repentance and ibadah. What does that mean? That means that if you are engaged in sin, you make a sincere repentance and you worship Allah, and if you die like that, it's good. But if you do ibadah and continue to be engaged in sin, then you could die upon ma'siyah, and you'll still be held accountable on the day of judgment, and you will be resurrected with the sins that you commit. And you'll be resurrected with the ma'siyah. So Ramadan is a blessed month for us as believers. We rejoice, we are happy as Muslims because Ramadan enters. Why? Because it is a month which Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The Quran, just recently I read one of the brothers, he put a post where he was saying that he met someone, a non-Muslim, can you imagine? A non-Muslim, and gave him the copy of the Quran, and he read the copy of the Quran within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay, a sincere question that I ask myself and everyone is, have you ever read the Quran from cover to cover? You need to ask yourself that question. Have you ever read the Quran? We claim to be lovers of Allah. We claim to love Allah and His Rasul. Have you read it? Well, we all need a serious wake-up call. Ramadan provides that. Never lose hope. And that's why I'm trying to push and encourage everyone to leave any bad habits. Any sins, anything that you're doing, give it up. Because whatever is given up for the sake of Allah, Allah will give you something greater, something much more meaningful, and something worth attaining. And I'll end off by mentioning some of the ways that we can do that, inshallah. Number one, being sincere, which we mentioned. Number two, acting now, acting today. Sincerity should push you to action. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. That indeed Allah will be with. You want the help of Allah? Like you want the help of your friends and parents and someone that you trust in school or whatever. Like, we all need a support network. No one can say, I'm independent. We're miskeen. We're all dependent upon someone. Even if you wanted your house refurbished, you probably ask someone to help you. Even if you wanted to move and get something painted, you need help. Every single one of us. We've been like that for our whole lives. Why? It's a humbling experience. Why? If you feel totally independent, what happens to you? You become arrogant, like Shaitan. He said, I'm better than him. I'm created from this. Arrogance came in him. So, number one, ihtisab. You need to have accountability. You go into Ramadan, you need to hold yourself accountable. that I'm worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal in this action, and I want to enter it and leave it better than I entered it. Also, he mentions it, say, Allahumma balighna Ramadan, Allahumma balighna Ramadan, Allahumma balighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, allow us to reach Ramadan. None of us know if we will reach our homes, let alone Ramadan. Abdullah ibn Umar would say, if you reach the night, don't think you live to see the morning. And if you reach the morning, don't think you live to see the night. Why? So it pushes you to do good, not to feel relaxed. Just a few hours ago, we had the question from one of the sisters in regards to, does a Muslim have a relaxed time? Like, is there such thing as free time? And if you really think about it, does a Muslim have in his vocabulary something known as free time? No, not really. He has something known as time to re-energize and, better myself. But no, you are either between seeking your dunya benefit or working towards your akhirah. So learning how to drive, finishing your education, working at a good halal place, someone provide for your family. This is ibadah. So someone goes out there, works 9 to 5. This is ibadah. No one expects you to sit in the masjid for 30 days. It's not realistic. It's not realistic that 30 days in Ramadan, you come to the masjid. Yes, i'tikaf. The last 10 nights, yes. But the whole, no. Because what you do in Ramadan should stay with you after Ramadan. Also, during Ramadan, the Shaykh here, he makes a point of saying, you have to be someone who takes advantage of every moment. That means when you are eating your iftar, you are mindful that you're having less food and you spend your nights in the masjid. This Ramadan that's coming, you tell yourself and your family, I'm going to spend my nights in the masjid. And since we're all men, most of us, or all of us here, men, young men as well, for those who are married, you're going to make a plan with you and your wife, and the younger brothers at home with mom and dad, you're going to tell them, we're not going to eat a lot. Let's have a little bit of iftar, and let's all go to the masjid. Let's not allow our women or men, if some of you are cooking, okay? Let's not allow ourselves to just stay home. Some of us, we get ready to go to Taraweeh. Oh, Hoy, thank you. And you left Hoya, your sisters, everyone at home. Like you ate with them, but you left them at home. They should also come to the masjid and pray. Because if you do leave them at home, how productive would they be? They could pray at home, which is better for them. But if they won't, and they cannot, they invite them to the masjid. Because there's an imam who knows the whole Quran. And the beauty of the Quran is that even the ones with the sick heart, they used to wish to listen to the Quran. The Quraysh, when they would hide, and they will listen and they will see what is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reciting, their hearts used to come out of their chest. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be reciting وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى. He will recite Surah Al-Najm and they will listen to it. And they're not Muslim, they're listening to it. What about you as a Muslim? And my warning he gives here, do not sit at the back of the masjid and waste your time talking. And the advice to the elders is that do not mock or do not belittle or degrade if you see young men in the masjid. Don't shout at them. Don't say you're better off going home, which I experienced a few years ago. These women are better off staying at home and their children. No, they're not. The masjid is for everyone. The masjid is for everyone. Bring the whole family. A year-old, the young children, everyone. Everyone come out. Let's all worship Allah. Why? We all want to enter Jannah together. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla allow us to enter the best month of Ramadan. Brothers, Jazakumullah khairan. Wallahi, in order to prepare yourself for Ramadan, it's very simple. Have a sincere heart. Even if you don't reach Ramadan, at least you died with the intention of changing and becoming a better person. Wallahi, it's all about sincerity. The true journey to Allah, our journey to Allah is a physical one. You have to really be proactive and worship Allah physically, not give lip service. But the true journey is the journey of the heart. And Imam Ibn Qayyim, may Allah bless him, he talks about this in a kitab, in many kitabs, where he talks about this journey to Allah Azza wa Jalla is really one of the heart. It isn't just your physical wife. The brother or sister who's bedbound, who's laying in bed, who wishes, and she wishes that they could walk, just like you could walk, they wish they could pray and stand in Qiyamul Layl. Like what I watched recently, a da'i, okay, and many of you know this da'i, he's in Saudi, and he cannot walk, and he cannot stand, and he has to be washed by his family members. Imagine. Like he cannot go to the toilet by himself. Mom and dad have to wash him. He recently got married, Allah Akbar. His wife washes him and cleans him. But imagine, he cannot do anything for himself at all. And he was asked in this show, he said, if you had 2 wishes, what would it be? He said, number 1, I wish I could make sajda to Allah Azza wa Jalla on this head. Because he's in a wheelchair. He's bedbound. He doesn't have the opportunity to make sajda. Right? Sajda is, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, أَقْرَبُ مَا يَكُونُ الْعَبْدُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَهُوَ سَاجِدٌ. The closest you will be to your Lord is when you're making sajda. This is why you find people, they like to stay in sajda for a long time. And if you're praying alone, that is okay. Don't be staying. And the Imam in Taraweeh, by the way, this is why you find he's in sajda, he's put his head on the floor for a long period of time. So why you make dua? This is the closest that you will ever get to Allah in the dunya. So you stay there, you cry, you make dua, oh Allah, change me, make me better, and so on. And then the second thing that he would request, he said, I wish, because remember his arms, nothing is working. He said, I wish I could hug my parents. He especially mentioned his mother. So brothers, that's one thing, inshallah, if you do leave tonight, please, those 2 things, prayer, establish it before a day comes that you wish you could pray, but you will never be able to pray. And number 2, hug your parents. Kiss your parents. Show love to your parents. Wallahi, the worst thing is, and I've seen it over and over again, we only value people once they're gone. We cry. Wallahi, what type of cry is that? Wallahi, if you didn't value someone when they were alive, then what good is your crying today? If you didn't value someone now, you didn't look after your wife, you didn't look after your mom, your sisters, and they died, now you cry? What type of tears are this? So before that day comes, that we cry because we really miss them, then let me show love to everyone that's in my life today. Let me express that, especially us men. Especially us men, we need to show that love to our sisters, our aunties, our fathers, and our mothers. The way our mom used to place him, and she didn't say, place you on the floor, throw you. She used to place you on her chest. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla make us of those that truly benefit from Ramadan. And I pray that we're able to enter Ramadan and have our sins forgiven. And know that in Ramadan, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that there is a night known as Laylatul Qadr. And everyone knows the surah, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin Qadr. Allah Azza wa Jalla says that He has revealed the Quran on Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree. Now that night is a special night. Do we know when it is? No. All we know, it is in the last 10 nights on the odd nights. Either the 21st, the 23rd, the 25th, the 27th, or the 29th. So I'm going to work hard in all 10 nights, all of Ramadan actually, in trying my best to stand in Qiyamul Layl. Whenever Allah finds you, in Ramadan, let Him find you in the state of worship. Either you're fasting, reading Quran, listening to a lecture, going to the masjid, helping your parents cook. Wherever it is, you're in the state of ibadah. Please, I hope we can all change our Ramadan. And finally, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you reach Ramadan, especially Laylatul Qadr, say this dua. And I want everyone to repeat this dua after me, and we'll finish it there. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you reach Ramadan, then say this dua. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Last time. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. And this is the translation. This is a beautiful dua. Aisha radiallahu anha, his wife, asked this. Our mother, Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked, what should I say? He said this dua. It means Allahumma, oh Allah, and Allahumma is the way you call out to Allah. Okay, you said Allahumma. But remember, there is certain adab before that. You praise Allah, Anta Arhamur Rahimin. You praise, and you notice this in Taraweeh, the dua is at the end. But if you're in sajda, in sujood, say this dua, keep repeating it to yourself. Allahumma, oh Allah, Allahumma innaka afoon. Oh Allah, you are the one who pardons. You are the one who pardons. Tuhibbul afwa, and you love to pardon. You'll never come across a human being with these qualities. You make a mistake, they'll remind you the whole life of the mistakes you made. Right? Oh Allah, you pardon, and you love to pardon. So therefore pardon me. Fa'fu anni. And afu means that Allah will wipe away your sins. It's no longer in your kitab. The kitab that every single one of us have, that we forget that the angels are writing. Yeah, mom didn't see you, dad didn't see you. The Imam didn't see you. Your Quran teacher didn't see you. Your spouse didn't see you. But who saw you? The angels which are writing and Allah who's aware. And it's written in your kitab. If you ask Allah to forgive you, it's wiped away. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to reach the best month of Ramadan. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Stop there, brothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakumullah khairan for Brother Abshir for this beautiful reminder. Inshallah, brother, I just want to give a few announcements, inshallah. This week, unfortunately, there will be no youth club. However, inshallah, if you wait for another 10 minutes, we'll be praying Isha in congregation, and then you can leave from there.